Here's something that genuinely bothers me about the way we talk about careers in this country. We've spent the last 20 years telling an entire generation that the only path to a good life runs through a 4-year university degree. And while millions of people were taking on $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in student debt to chase that path, the skilled trades were quietly building some of the best-paying, most stable careers in the American economy. And almost nobody was talking about it. Right now, in 2026, the average trade school graduate in the United States is earning $75,000 a year. That's not the ceiling, that's the average. Meanwhile, the median age of a skilled construction and maintenance worker in this country is 41 years old, which means a massive chunk of the experienced workforce is 5 to 15 years away from retirement. And there are nowhere near enough people coming in behind them to fill those seats. McKinsey looked at this and found that manufacturers are only filling 6 out of every 10 open positions, a 40% vacancy rate across skilled trades in America. So when people say the trades are back, understand that it's not a comeback story. It's a structural labor shortage that's been building for 2 decades, and it's creating real opportunity for anyone willing to pay attention. This video covers 7 trade careers with the strongest combination of salary, job growth, and long-term staying power heading into the next decade. Real numbers, real timelines, and how you actually start each one in 2026. If I had to pick one trade to recommend to someone starting from zero right now, it would be this one. Not because it's the flashiest option, but because the demand for licensed electricians is coming from every direction at once, and that is genuinely rare. Data centers are being built across the country at a pace nobody predicted 5 years ago. EV charging networks are going up everywhere. Renewable energy infrastructure is expanding, and every single one of those projects needs licensed electricians to make it work. You cannot build a data center with software. You cannot install a charging network remotely. Someone has to physically wire it, and that person is an electrician. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects about 80,000 electrician job openings every single year through 2033, when you factor in new positions plus retirements and turnover. That's 9% growth overall, which is roughly 3 times the national average across all occupations. The labor shortage in this specific trade is not going away. On salary, the BLS median sits around $61,000 a year, but that number is misleading if you stop there. Electricians who move into industrial work, data center installation, or commercial construction regularly hit 6 figures. The Blue Collar Recruiter, which tracks actual placement data, reports that electricians in industrial facilities or data center work are routinely clearing $100,000 and above. In high-cost states, the top earners are landing $120,000 to $180,000. The highest-paying states right now are Alaska, Illinois, and Massachusetts. The path then runs through the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, or through a local electrical contractor apprenticeship. It takes 4 to 5 years to reach your journeyman license, and you earn a paycheck the entire time. You're not going into debt. You're getting paid while you learn a skill that people will be paying for the rest of your career. I want to spend a little extra time on this one, because most people have never even considered it, and the numbers are hard to ignore once you see them. Elevator mechanics install, repair, and maintain elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. The median annual salary for this trade sits between $99,000 and $106,000 depending on the market. That's not the top end, that's the median. Apprentices starting out are earning $50,000 to $60,000 in their first year. Journeymen settle into $90,000 to $110,000. Licensed mechanics in major cities pulling overtime are regularly at $140,000 or more. The reason it pays so well is the same reason most people don't know about it. This is a highly specialized trade. The systems combine mechanical engineering, electronics, hydraulics, and safety compliance in ways that take years to genuinely understand. You cannot learn this on YouTube and walk onto a job site. The barrier to entry is real, which is exactly why the pay reflects it. Urban growth drives consistent demand here. More high-rises going up in cities, more commercial buildings, more aging systems that need continuous maintenance. And critically, this work cannot be offshored or automated. Nobody in another country can fix an elevator in a Chicago office tower. A software update cannot replace a mechanic at the top of a shaft. Job growth is projected at 6% through 2032, and union representation through the IUEC, the International Union of Elevator Constructors, means strong wages and benefits in most markets. Getting into the apprenticeship is competitive, and it runs 4 to 5 years. But this is one of the most financially stable career paths in the skilled trades, and it's barely part of the conversation when people talk about vocational education options. That gap is your opportunity. This is the trade I recommend most often to people who want to get into the workforce fast, because the training timeline is shorter than almost anything else on this list, and the ceiling on income is genuinely high if you specialize correctly. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Technicians in this field install, maintain, and repair climate systems in homes, hospitals, office buildings, and manufacturing facilities. The residential side pays okay. The real money is in commercial and industrial work, chiller systems, building automation, large-scale climate control for facilities that run 24 hours a day. The BLS median wage for HVAC technicians is around $59,810 a year, but technicians who pick up building automation certifications and understand smart HVAC systems and energy management are consistently earning $80,000 to $120,000. The overall HVAC market is projected to reach $38 billion in value by 2030, growing at roughly 8% per year, driven by EPA refrigerant regulations, new energy efficiency standards, and the push towards smart building infrastructure. Most HVAC certificate programs at a community college or technical trade school run 7 to 11 months. From there, you work toward your EPA 608 certification, which is required to handle refrigerants and opens the door to commercial work. Full apprenticeships run 2 to 5 years depending on the path you choose. Either way, you are earning before a college freshman is halfway through their sophomore year. The thing about HVAC that nobody talks about enough, it is about as recession-proof as a career gets. Buildings need heating and cooling, whether the economy is good or bad. A hospital's climate system does not take time off because the stock market dropped. Emergency service calls, the kind that come in on a Saturday night, pay premium rates. And technicians who build their own client base and start their own service companies are routinely running six-figure operations without a college degree and without the student debt that comes with one. Plumbing does not have the glamour pitch that some of the other trades have picked up lately, but I would argue it has one of the most bulletproof long-term cases of anything on this list, and the reason is simple. Water infrastructure in this country is old, and it is not fixing itself. The BLS median wage for plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters is just under $60,000 a year. In markets where overtime is available, that number moves fast. One analysis found that plumbers regularly add $6,000 or more in overtime on top of their base pay. Master plumbers who pull permits, supervise crews, and run their own businesses are at $110,000 to $160,000 and above. There are about 428,000 plumbers working in the United States right now. Demand is consistent because the underlying infrastructure problem is not going away. Pipes age, systems fail, new construction adds more work on top of the maintenance backlog. And the thing that makes this trade genuinely durable in a way that some careers aren't, it cannot be automated or sent overseas. Someone has to be physically in the building. The apprenticeship runs 4 to 5 years to reach journeyman status. Getting your master license takes more time on top of that, but it's where the real financial upside lives, because a master license lets you pull permits and operate your own business without a ceiling on your income. One thing that gets glossed over constantly, emergency plumbing calls pay extremely well. A burst pipe at 2 a.m. on a Sunday in January is not a situation where anyone is negotiating on price. That reality, that skilled trades charge premium rates for urgent, necessary work, is a part of the labor shortage story that more people in the vocational education conversation should be saying louder. Let me give you the single most important number in this video, and then I'll tell you what it means. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects 45% to 50% job growth for wind turbine technicians through 2034. To put that in context, the national average for all occupations is about 4%. Wind turbine tech is the fastest growing occupation in the United States right now, not just among the skilled trades, but across every category of work. Nothing else on the BLS fastest growing list is close. That number exists because of 3 things happening at once. Federal renewable energy investment is pushing wind farm construction across the country. The turbines already installed need continuous skilled maintenance. And the trained workforce for this specific work is still relatively small because the industry scaled up faster than the trade school and vocational education pipeline could keep up with. The job itself is physically demanding. You're climbing towers that can top 200 feet, troubleshooting electrical and hydraulic systems in the nacelle at the top of the turbine, and sometimes rappelling down blade surfaces for external repairs. This is not the right fit for someone who doesn't want physical work or has a fear of heights. But for people who are genuinely comfortable with that kind of environment, you are looking at a field in its early growth phase with a trajectory that points steeply upward for at least the next decade. Entry-level technicians are earning $40,000 to $48,000. Experienced techs land in the $55,000 to $65,000 range. Lead technicians and traveling specialists who work across multiple sites are hitting $82,000 and above. The top-paying states are Texas, California, and Iowa. Training timelines are the shortest on this list. Most certificate programs at community colleges or technical schools run 1 to 2 years, and most include your OSHA safety certifications and tower climb certification. If you are 22 years old and you get into wind turbine work right now, you are getting in on a field built around renewable energy infrastructure that will be significantly larger in 10 years than it is today. Welding is a trade that gets underestimated a lot, and I think it's because people only see the general welder number and stop there. The general welder median, around $47,000 to $50,000, is real, but it's not the reason welding belongs on this list. The reason welding belongs on this list is what happens at the specialized end of the trade. Pipeline welders, underwater welders, aerospace welders, and industrial welders working on structural steel or pressure vessels are earning $75,000 to $200,000 or more. Pipeline projects and offshore oil and gas infrastructure pay premium rates for certified specialists because the work is done under demanding conditions that require a level of precision most welders are not trained for. Aerospace manufacturing has similar standards. These are not entry-level positions, but they are reachable positions, and the path to them is through certifications, not a university degree. Industrial welding and millwright work is projected to see 13% job growth through 2034. The retirement wave hitting manufacturing facilities across the country is creating openings that are genuinely hard to fill because the experienced workforce is aging out and there are not enough younger tradespeople coming in with the skills to replace them. That is the same labor shortage story running through every trade on this list, but in manufacturing, it has been quietly building for longer. The path to the high-paying end runs through the American Welding Society. The certified welder and certified welding inspector credentials are what separate general welders from specialists, and they're what employers in pipeline, industrial, and aerospace work are looking for. Getting into pipeline work usually means being willing to travel and follow the projects, but the pay is built around that flexibility. 3 to 4 years of deliberate skill building and the right certifications. That's the realistic timeline to reach the earning potential that makes welding worth taking seriously. This is technically a management role, and I want to be upfront about that, but I included it because the path into construction management, for most of the people actually doing this job, runs straight through the trades, not through a business degree program. Construction managers plan, budget, coordinate, and supervise projects from groundbreaking through completion. The BLS median salary is $106,980 a year. Job growth is projected at 9% through 2033, the same figure as electricians, and 3 times the national average. Annual openings run into the tens of thousands, driven largely by federal infrastructure investment flowing into highways, bridges, water systems, and public facilities. Yes, some employers prefer candidates with a 4-year construction management degree. But a significant portion of the people currently doing this job at a high level got there by spending years in the field first, as carpenters, electricians, general contractors, and working their way into supervisory roles. If you start in a trade at 22, spend 5 to 7 years developing real site experience, and earn your PMP or CCM certification along the way, construction management is a natural progression. And the ceiling once you get there is real. Top earners in commercial construction management are clearing $150,000 and above in high-demand markets. If you're the kind of person who wants to eventually run things rather than just work on them, starting in a skilled trade is a faster route to that outcome than most people realize. Trade school, then field experience, then certification. That path is available to you right now, without the student debt that comes with the 4-year alternative. There are 3 realistic paths depending on where you are starting from. If you want the fastest route to paid work in the trades, HVAC and wind turbine tech are your options. Certificate programs for both run under 2 years. You can be earning a living wage in a skilled trade before a college freshman finishes their sophomore year. Look at your local community college or a vocational trade school. Many of them have direct job placement partnerships with employers, which means the job search is partly built into the program. If you want the highest long-term earning potential and are willing to invest 4 to 5 years to get there, electrician and elevator mechanic apprenticeships are the clearest paths to six-figure incomes without a university degree and without student debt. Apply through the IBEW for electrical work, through the IUEC for elevator work. Competition for these apprenticeships is real, but they take new applicants on a regular cycle, and the application process is not complicated. If you already have some field experience, the single most valuable thing you can do right now is start stacking certifications. Your EPA 608 for HVAC, your AWS credentials for welding, your OSHA safety certifications for site work. These are what separate the $50,000 a year tradespeople from the $90,000 a year tradespeople, and in most cases they cost a few $100s and a few weeks of your time. The labor shortage we've been talking about this entire video means that the market is rewarding certified, experienced tradespeople faster than it has in a long time. The one thing I want to say before the outro, because I think it matters, the barrier to entry in the skilled trades in 2026 is genuinely low. Not because the work is easy, it's not, but because the worker shortage is so real that employers are actively looking for motivated people who want to learn. They are not turning beginners away. They are desperately trying to find them. If you've been sitting on the idea of getting into a trade and waiting for the right moment, I'd push back on that. The moment is right now. So here's where I'll leave you. If you could be fully licensed and working in one of these fields in 2 years, earning what most college graduates take 5 or 6 years to reach without the student debt, what is actually stopping you from making one phone call this week? Drop a comment below and let me know which trade you're looking at. I read them. And if this gave you something useful, subscribe. We cover skilled trades, career paths, and financial independence on this channel consistently, and there's a lot more coming.